In today's episode of the Pathwing Presents podcast, I have an interesting guest here with me today. I'm with Nick Thompson. He's heading over from the team at Mediafly, and he's a VP of Product Marketing. And Mediafly is all about sales enablement and revenue intelligence. And today we want to deep dive into what it actually means, what Mediafly is all about, and how Nick is thinking about product and product marketing. So, Nick, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Of course. So, for everybody who hasn't heard yet about Mediafly or who is just, at the beginning of their journey getting to know Mediafly, what is Mediafly all about?
That's a great question. Good place to start. So Mediafly, we are a sales enablement company that's grown into revenue intelligence, sales enablement, and then buyer and seller activity. And basically what you get with Mediafly is we're taking sales enablement, content management, value selling, customer engagement, revenue intelligence, and we're combining that into a platform that we like to call Revenue 360 under the idea that you want to support the entire revenue journey of your customer from the moment they interact with you for the first time on your website, all the way through renewals or resells. And what we do is we give you the activity data. What are they doing when they're browsing your website? How are they interacting with sales? What are your sales rep doing? And we're taking all of that activity and we're running it through our Revenue 360 machine learning intelligence engine. And we're turning that into actionable insights so that you can see behaviors that win. You can see enablement that empowers your sellers. You can understand the role content's playing when you're not in the room. And then the role content plays when your sellers are in that ever elusive sales meeting that they finally got. And so we're helping you become more intelligent every step of the way and using all of the data from every type of interaction that you have.
Very interesting. So a lot of concepts, sales, revenue driving concepts under one roof. Very interesting.
Exactly. And we're really realizing this is, we are very innovative in this space. And one of the things that we've noticed from our customers and we're seeing in the market and more happening from like a consolidation standpoint in the market. But what's happening with our customers is they are realizing that they have all these tools that they've accumulated over the years and they're point tools, right? You'll have conversation intelligence, then you'll have video messaging, then you'll have content management, and then you'll have an LMS, learning management system, and you have all these point tools and none of them are talking to each other. Yeah. So our goal is to help you eliminate point tools, eliminate data silos that are caused from having these tools, and then putting them all into one place so you can actually leverage all the data that's coming in and out of these tools and become actionable, again, at every intersection that you have between your sellers and your customers.
That makes a lot of sense. What would you say, just sort of, for people who are listening in, what types of sales organization size do we need? Or is there certain verticals which are, best suited for leveraging Mediafly? Maybe tell us a little bit about sort of the company that would benefit most from the system.
Absolutely. So we find that, first of all, we have massive customers. We have Pepsi as a customer, right? We have big tech companies. 6sense is actually a customer. We have so many different large CPG companies that leverage Mediafly. But as we've grown through acquisition and natural growth, we've really expanded into the tech space. We do really well in manufacturing. We do very well in financial services. We're in the media and entertainment space as well because of the UI and the ability to do interactive and animated content, which is very unique to Mediafly. So we play in a lot of spaces, but those are the ones that we tend to do best and have the biggest customers in.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, who within those organizations would you say is actually sort of the champion for Mediafly? Who is bringing in? Is it into the company? Is it the head of sales? Is it actually individual sales rep? Does it come from C-suite? Like who's bringing in typically?
So this is a very, very interesting question because that's something that has changed for us. I started at Mediafly at the end of summer in 2021, and our main persona or person that we would target and would be our champion, and oftentimes even the person that would sign the contract would come from marketing. So it would be a marketing leader, a lot of product marketers, actually. It would be a CMO in some of the smaller organizations or the department head of marketing in larger organizations. But now that we've expanded into the revenue intelligence space, we've expanded into the conversation intelligence space, we're seeing personas like the head of sales or a VP of sales or a CRO in some cases. We're seeing and talking to RevOps for the first time at MediaFly. We're talking to RevOps as sort of a new persona that's unique to us, but through acquisition of Insight Squared, we're getting into understanding that space. We're talking in some instances to a IT leader who is looking to consolidate their tech stack and then tie what they do every single day in their job to revenue and how they contribute, whether that be through consolidation or that be through elimination of point tools. So we're really seeing a lot of different personas, and that list seems to be growing day by day. So we also have enablement leaders, some that sit in a sales organization, others that sit in a marketing organization. And they come in on a little bit of a different pain point sometimes, but all of these personas are important for us, and we need to be able to talk to all of them and have relevant conversations and how we can impact their day-to-day and improve their business.
Super interesting to hear how this evolved, like over time with the different modules that you also brought into the product. What would you say, how do they typically learn about MediaFly? What are sort of the typical client acquisition channels that you guys leverage?
So we're not the biggest in the space, right? We're, probably, we're in the top 5 for sure, I would say. But now that we expand across so many different channels and so many different categories through so many different personas, we're starting to see a little bit of a change of how we're getting and acquiring new customers. Some of it is through acquisition and then cross-selling initiatives that, we'll acquire a company like Insight Squared that was pretty close to the same size as we were. And we inherit these new personas, these new customers. So we're starting to talk to those RevOps and those CRO people to talk to them about content management, interactive content, conversation intelligence, and some of the other offerings that we have. But ultimately, we do not spend, obviously, as much to get our name out there. So a lot of people hear about us from word of mouth, through a Google search, through analysts, through social media, and through peer review sites like G2. And they'll come in. I always say like the buyer now comes in like armed and dangerous. But when I do a win interview, I hear a lot of times it started with a Google search. They heard about us from their network, or they found us on G2 and they were making comparisons there to build a short list.
That makes sense. Interesting. Very interesting.
We also actually get we also get a lot recently that I've noticed and picked up on that come in as they've left one company and gone to another, and we're very happy with MediaFly, and they have no solution or a competitor of ours. So we do get a lot of, I don't know what the technical term for that is, but customers that were customers and then want to become customers again.
Now, we mentioned a little bit the personas, the different personas. Obviously, a website has also to address the different personas. We actually had a quick pre-chat on how deep product marketing is involved with the website. Like just in general, what role do you see product marketers should take when it comes to the website, to the communication of the value, the messaging? How do you think about that?
So I think that this is going to vary from company to company and role to role and what your role is. I personally see my view within MediaFly, which is different than it has been at other companies, because I do believe that will change. My role within MediaFly is to sort of pull us up, I believe, to not talk so much about ourselves and not use the language that we like to use and talk more about the customer. So I focus to make sure that the customer's voice is present throughout our messaging, that we're not talking about our product when they want to use words like content management, or they want to use words like sales coaching or sales training, or they want to use words like pipeline management, accurate forecasting, or value selling tools. We're not there pitching our product name. So I see my role to just make sure that the voice of the customer is represented in the copy that we have and the content that we put on the website.
Yep, well, that makes a lot of sense. Is there something that you've learned over the years, like on how to best put yourself back into the shoes of the customer? Because I think a lot of marketers, even product marketers, can fall victim to being too much of an expert to then only describe the product. What do you kind of, is there like a mental shift that you do, an exercise, anything that you could share?
I feel like I could talk about this for 2 hours with you because there is a tendency to get into the product when you're a product marketer right away. Maybe this is controversial. I did not go into our product my first 30 days. I wanted to stay out of it. I wanted to listen to customer calls. I wanted to talk to customers. I got blessed to start here. I think my second or third week, we had a Evolve event, which was a virtual event showcasing our customers. And so I got to hear right away how the customers were using us and how they were talking about us. And it was very, very surprising because it's not the way that we talk about ourselves. And I feel like that's what ends up happening if you spend too much time internally or in the product. As a product marketer, you need to be able to understand what the product does. You don't need to be able to do everything in the product. And I feel like if you focus more on what it does and the value it's providing, and you listen to customers, so you're continually using the language they're using, that's going to help you do a better job of marketing what your product actually solves for.
I think that makes a whole lot of sense. And I think you gave a very, very good starter tip for a lot of guys who are getting into product marketing. You have to be brave though, to not even open the product. Yeah.
That's exactly it. And there's still, so we have, like, if you were to break it down right now, we have a product called Coach 360, which is conversation intelligence, learning management system, like a bundled solution. We have Engagement 360, which is content management, interactive content, microsites, customer portals, like a whole bunch of different things in there, video messaging. Then we have Value 360, which is building custom calculators that you can use for marketing demand gen, sales can use to build business cases, customer success can use to manage ROI with the customer. And then we have Intelligence 360, which is revenue intelligence, pipeline accuracy, forecasting, sales dashboards. So there's a lot of products here. And I could spend all day, every day learning one of them. But what I do is and I'm a team of one at the moment. So what I do is I stay kind of like above it and I understand what problem they're solving. And then I make sure that I understand how the customer's talking about it by listening to calls and stuff like that, so that I don't get too into the weeds. And if I do have an opportunity to demo, which I do very, very short demos on specific areas, I am talking in the way that they're talking and not in the way I'm talking or we're talking internally.
Makes a whole lot of sense. No, I think it gives a very nice edge for people listening and just being very brave actually to just like stay out and look from the outside to get that customer voice in. Very cool. I would like to switch gears a little bit and ask you a couple of short and crisp questions to learn about your journey as a product marketer. As we slowly but surely getting to an end of the interview, we learned about what you guys are doing. We talked about the channel, the growth, and we talked about the role of a product marketer when it comes to messaging. Now, I got some rapid fire questions for you. Are you ready for those?
All right, let's go.
What is the last book you read, or the one book that you would recommend any product marketer should read?
Oh, any product market. I was like, I'm reading this book called Gratitude Through Hard Times, which is highly recommended. And that's going to help a lot of people just in general with their coworkers. But the last one I read is actually right here. It's called Deep Work. I'm actually reading this right now too. This one here talks about how you can stay focused in a world full of distractions. I am very much a person who needs to have time to focus before I can actually start working. And I think when you're in a role like product marketing, it is undefined. And even in this organization, we have a lot of people with a lot of different expectations on what it is. And so I feel like if you're ever going to be able to focus and accomplish anything, you have to be able to like give yourself that time and really hone in on specific tasks one at a time so that you can actually accomplish these things. There's also another one. I can't remember what it's called. Never mind.
No worries.
Positioning.
Another
one that I would love to recommend, Building a Brand Story.
Yeah.
I read that a little over a year ago. It's the fastest I've ever read a book. And I can't stress enough, the key takeaway there is that as a product, you are the guide, not the hero of the story. And this walks you through how to be a guide and not be the hero of the story. Make your customer the hero of the story. So highly recommend both of those.
Very good.
And I'll be rapid with the next ones.
What is the one single thing your company is focused on the most?
Supporting the revenue journey.
If there would be no boundaries in technology for your product marketing role, what's the one thing you would fix?
Is that at Mediafly?
wherever?
I think we should have it more defined and not change and vary from company to company so that we can actually build a community of successful product marketers easier.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
We're going through some acquisitions and adding more products, of course. And so what keeps me up at night is, are we able to articulate this cohesive story?
And for the very last question, I would love to do a little bit of time travel, right? So let's go back a little bit to the days of Full Sail University, right? So heading out of formal education, heading into the world of business, marketing, and growth. What's the one advice you would give yourself?
Don't give up. It's competitive out there. And I would just, and I don't think I did give up, but I did get defeated oftentimes trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I would say explore and don't give up.
Very much in line with the first book that you mentioned at the very beginning. Very good. Yeah, no, I really appreciate you took the time with us today to be a guest on Pathmark Presents. I want to give you the very last word. If somebody would be forgetting all that we discussed about MediaFly today, what's the one thing that they should remember?
That if you want to support your buyers and your sellers and make it frictionless or as close to frictionless as you can, MediaFly is who you want to talk to. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, we have the best product, we have the best offering, and we're the only company I've seen that has the vision to support the complete buyer and seller journey.
Thanks a lot for being a guest on Pathmark Presents.
Thank you for having me.